Hey guys, welcome back. Today let's master Codeforces 1772C, differences. So for a strictly increasing array A of k elements, let's denote the characteristic as the number of different elements in the array where the number of different elements where the next index minus the previous index are elements in an array. So what does that mean? If we just take a look at their first example, given the array 1, 3, 4, 7, 8, the differences between each are 2, 1, 3, 1, which contains 3 distinct elements, right? You're given 2 integers, k and n, where k is the length of the array and n is the numbers you're allowed to use from 1 to n, and we want to output the maximum possible characteristic. So right off the bat, this question is, like, we can tell it's greedy, right? Because we want to maximize the number of distinct elements, so we want to maximize this, like if we were to build a premium, like this is the best possible difference array we can have, it would look something like 1, 2, 3, yada yada yada, all the way to like whatever we have as our end value, right? Basically, it's just an array that's counting up 1 every time. And so, if we were to construct a array our k array from this, it would follow the same pattern every time, right? We would start with 1. 1 greater than 1 is 2, so the difference between these is this, right? And then 2 greater than 2 is 4, so the difference between these is this. 3 greater than 4 is 7, so the difference between these is 7. And then you would have 11, 16, plus 6, 22, yada yada yada. Y'all get the pattern, right? We're basically just adding the next value in our 1 array to our array. So our first step is to make this kind of generator. Now this runs into a few problems where when n is greater than the or when the values in our generator are greater than our allowed values, which is n, right? So for example, let's just take the first test case here. It gives us a good example. 5, 9. So we want to build an array of length 5. If we just greedily pick from our generator, I just fill this up with our generator. 1, 2, 4, 7, 11. 11 is greater than 9, so we can't actually have this value in our array. So what we should do is we should track a filter variable. Track a filter. Track a filler, and remove or replace invalid with filler and decrement filler. So what this means is we'll set filler equal to our last possible digit, 9. And since this digit is impossible, let's just replace it with 9. And every time we do this replacement, let's decrement filler by 1, which is 8. So if we track this to be impossible, which is not in this case, but let's just say it was, so by coincidence, let's make it 10 or something. Then we would replace this with 8 and decrement with filler again. Does that make sense? So that's kind of the idea of how we should build this code, right? Now, how can we implement that? Well, first, let's track a toPrint. I've already gone ahead and taken in the input, so you don't have to watch me do that. toPrint equals empty string, and then we can track a toAppend variable, set it to 1, and a temp variable, set it to 1. And then for I in range k, this is our length of the array, and this is going to be our generator, right? We want to append to append to toPrint. So toPrint.append to append, and then we want to increment to append by our temporary variable, and then increment our temporary variable by 1. All right, that's basically just doing exactly what we said here. For every number, we just add the next number, which is temp, right? And then we can track a filler variable, set it to our largest available number, which is n, and then iterate through our built array, so our toPrint backwards, for I in range k minus 1. Our toPrint is length k, by the way, because we shove k elements in there. And then we go to -1, so we go to 0, but we stop at -1. And then to increment backwards, we can add a -1 start, stop, step, right? Now, if toPrint, so if our current value of toPrint is greater than or equal to our filler, then let's replace toPrint with our filler and decrement it. Decrement our filler. And this is a little bit weird here. Some people can get confused. If it's equal to filler, why do you still do this? Well, if it's equal to filler and you do this, nothing will change, right? But the important part is that we need a decrement filler so we don't use or like reuse a variable or we don't reuse a number that's already been used. Like if one of the numbers is valid and the next number is not valid, I don't know if this will actually ever be a case, but actually, yes, there was a case. I think I was testing something like, say I have 1, 2, or 1, 2, 4, 4, or 4, 7, and our n is 4. Then if I replace this, we'll have 4, 4, and we'll have a duplicate. So we need to decrement our filler anyway, and replace this 4 with 3 and then 4, or something like that. If that makes any sense. But all right, and then after that, we're basically done. Let's just print out our toPrint. Don't forget the unpacking operator, and there we go. That should be the full code. This was my submission, and yeah, again, there's multiple possible answers, right? So if there's multiple answers, print any of them, and this should be a valid build for all of these problems. Yeah, I think this was actually the case I was talking about here. This test case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This 3, 4 test case, right? Yeah. All right. Great. If y'all enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. I will see y'all guys later. Bye.